Welcome to Rewrite Rising, podcast where you can rewrite your health journey and rise above your past. I'm Drew, sharing Mindset Mondays to ground and guide you, thriving Thursdays to cut through the noise and bring clarity to nutrition. If you find these conversations helpful or think someone else would enjoy them too, make sure that you are subscribed. Whether you're tuning into YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere else, feel free to share them along the way. All right, let's get into today's episode. Welcome back to Mindset Mondays. And today, I'm kind of going a little free-for-all. I have no notes. I have no research. Nothing. And I'm going to tell you why. Mindset Mondays and not Motivation Mondays. Motivation is a crock of fucking shit. I don't believe in it. I don't think it's fair for people to be like, when I get motivated, I'll do X, Y, Z. Because it doesn't work that way. You just gotta do X, Y, Z. If you tell yourself, I'm gonna do this when I get motivated, you're giving yourself an excuse to never do it. I know it sounds pretty harsh. I learned that the hard. My mother is dead. She died when I was 6 from domestic violence with a boyfriend. Not my dad. I was actually raised with my dad. Most of my life was with him, especially when she was in that abusive relationship. But he didn't know how to be a parent. And he leaned on my great aunt Nancy at the time to help take care of me, but then he had to eventually kind of like get out of her house and try to be an adult. And he tried every now and then. Like, I will say that when he was sober, he was better at cooking meals and making things, like teaching me how to do lasagna or like our 5-alarm chili that causes like 0 heartburn. It's because we don't use spices, we use actual vegetables. We had great moments. And then unfortunately, when my father stripped into his addiction and really struggled with addiction, shit hit the fucking fan. And how are you supposed to stay motivated in a situation like that where you're constantly depressed, constantly struggling, constantly fighting? I mean, it's hard to stay motivated to do anything. But if you change your mindset and work on the mindset, then that makes things a little bit more bearable. I promise there's a point to this. So he remarried when I was about 8 going on 9. And my stepmom, also an addict. Unfortunately, she passed away recently. So my stepmother was a functioning addict. Just was like my father, but her drug was less intense. So she was most of the person that was like smoke pot, maybe do mushrooms every now and then, drink. My dad is more of the oxys, cocaine, really hardcore stuff like acid. Like, I knew more drugs than my DARE teacher did. Yeah. Kind of probably not the best thing, but it was true. I mean, I was able to be like, oh, that's, LSD. Oh, that's heroin. I'm like, my DARE teacher's like, you're 10. I'm like, and I'm starved. Literally. I grew up with no food. And then the food that we did have resembled most of like a food desert, like hamburger helper meals or things of that nature. And I had gotten really lucky that a few of my friends in high school would actually feed me, or sometimes their parents knew and they couldn't figure out how to help me because my father's such a good functioning addict that he would able to get talk his way out of everything, including DCF visiting, which DCF, by the way, is the Department of Children and Families. So that's what I mean when I call it like mindset, because I was 16, 17, and even at 18, 19, 20, having this horrible mindset about nutrition and how to eat, what to eat. I was so used to starvation mode, and I kind of started getting a little better. Like, I kind of did get a little better, but when I met my wife about almost 10 years ago, so about 9 years this year. So I met her when I was 29, and I was 92 pounds. Now, I'm not the tallest man. I'm actually about 5'7" on a good day. Shrinking since I've gotten older, which is a thing, people. I was 92 pounds, and she was a little concerned. She thought I was possibly a drug addict or something of that sort, but she was like, maybe there's something I don't know about, and I'm not going to judge her. And then she just learned that I was so used to being malnourished as a child because of my mindset that I never developed a healthy eating habits, which is true. And I remember like, when I feel motivated, I'll get better at it. And that's how I start. I feel motivated, I'll get better at it. But Then I learned that motivation is a cop-out because I never felt motivated. I'm not the person that's like, I'm gonna go get motivated to go do this. I'm not gonna get motivated to go put myself on YouTube for 3 or 20 people to watch. But I know that there are people like me. I know there are people who struggled growing up like me without nutrition and understanding it and what it means to take care of themselves. And I learned, but I had to change the way I saw myself, and I had to change the way I saw food, and I had to change the way I saw how I related to food. It started first by allowing myself the love and compassion to know that I deserved a healthy lifestyle. Eating healthy shouldn't cost some, but it does. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Processed food costs so little because it's just crap. But if you eat a bunch of processed food, therefore you becoming processed, you become malnourished because, well, you aren't getting enough nutrients. And then you go to the hospital and you have like diabetes or cancer or this or that, the other. And that's normally what puts people a wake-up call. Getting like a cancer diagnosis or a diabetes diagnosis and whatever it is, diagnosis, doesn't motivate people all the time. Why do you think most diets fail? Guilt, shame. But if you change your mindset, then that's how you start learning to succeed. 25 years, I struggled with understanding that I deserved to eat good food, that I deserved to learn to cook, that I deserved to learn what is in my food. Not everybody got, and that was mindset. None of it was motivation. And that is why today I decided to go off script. Literally, I struggle, I get nervous, I get anxious. I'm putting myself on the camera and putting myself in a podcast and talking about all this stuff, if people are going to listen to it or not, and just see what happens. But with lack of access to food, I grew up in a food desert, I've been starved. Health issues because of this going. I am still privileged enough to be able to change all of that because of the way I look. Not everybody is. There are places in the world that still have food deserts. There are places in the United States that resemble third world countries, and Camden, New Jersey has zero help when it comes to these food deserts. I'm not saying Camden, New Jersey is a third world country, but I'm saying the food deserts is ridiculous. But there are places in the United States that have no access to water, or it's poisoned water, and they don't care. Because a lot of these places house people who aren't the stereotypical want to be norm in the US is going through right now. Spanish, indigenous. So like, why should we care? And that's the shitty part, putting this knowledge out there for everybody. Because if I didn't know this, who's to say anybody else does? And if somebody knows more than me, I'm grateful for it and I learn from them. And that's what I do, by the way. I do a lot of research. I take time out of my life to sit here and be like, how can we do this? What is this all about? How can we accomplish helping one another to get out of these food deserts, out of this malnutrition, out of these people who are literally nutrient void? Their microbiota is pretty much nothing. And it's sharing correct. It's changing our mindsets about food and what we deserve. And we all deserve access to good, clean food. Emphasis on clean. Because we also deserve access to good, clean water. My mindset with this podcast is to do the best I can. And if I'm wrong at something, then I have no problem people putting me in my place. I just stop waiting for motivation. I'm not going to find it. It doesn't actually exist. Get up and do it anyways. Even if you don't want to, just get the fuck up. Get up, stand up, go grab a glass of water, drink the glass of water, walk to the end of the freaking block. Anything to make your life better because you deserve it. You deserve to take care of yourself. You deserve good food. You deserve access to a grocery store. You deserve access to clean water. You deserve to be able to walk around the block without feeling danger. You deserve healthy living. You deserve long lives. Mindset is there. We need this. I'm going to sit idly by and not share what I'm learning. Been in my situation the people who are still currently in my situation. Thank you for listening to Rebound Rising. Now remember, you don't have to get it all right. You just have to start. Rewrite your health journey and rise above your past. And the next episode will be dropped on Thursdays, because again, I drop episodes every Monday and Thursday, so follow, share, subscribe. I'll see you next time.